We are going live. We are live. I think we had a hiccup there. Not that you care, but anytime I try to activate this little HD camera, I think we run into technical issues. Hello, how are you doing? Carrie's in here with YWGO. I think you're in the wrong place, Carrie. I think that stands for yo, what's going on? But it's actually welcome here, Carrie, because if you're new to this channel, which I can't imagine you found my live stream, if you're new, it is a safe space for any and all things running. The idea behind these live streams, these chats, is so that you can take them later on your run later in the week. You just put it on in cruise and you can hear running banter. That's how I consume most of my running content. I don't sit down and watch it, which makes it difficult to watch Floberg videos because he puts a lot of text and he has a lot of wonderful shots. So for some running content creators, I will sit down to consume it. Otherwise, I just listen to it. So, um, yeah, if you had an easy run today, I want to hear about it. Please put it in the comments. If you had a workout, it is Wednesday, right? Workout Wednesday. Tell me about it because your significant other probably doesn't really care. I could be projecting, but if you ran in the Super Blast 2 and they finally broke in after 781 miles, I want to hear about it. Please let me know. I had 12 easy miles today, steezy, and it was 79 degrees, feels like 83. I'm on a mission not to complain. I'm not complaining for 24 hours. This is my mission. And so I'm not complaining about the weather. What I decided to do was break up my run and every 3 miles, since I was just running around my neighborhood, pop into the house, switch the tires, run in a new shoe, and just compare the shoes to try to find my best Steezy Day shoe. I ran into Peg Plus. Yeah, remember that one? It's still around. Evo SL, that one. Nova Blast 5, which I have a video coming out later in the week on that one. I did 3 miles in that, and then I finished with the Mach X2. Now, you may be asking, Andrew, which one of those shoes was your favorite out of the Steezy Day? And it was the Mach X2. A little bit heavy, but it's butter. Mike is in here, Nara, currently on my run. I love to hear that. Mike, I hope it is cooler where you are and not so hot because this weather, summer be summering. It's going out with a bang. It's throwing haymakers. It is. I think the forecast is this weekend we're getting a little rain in the next couple of days, and then this weekend we're finally going to return to sub 70s. This is a very exciting time, but this is not the week. That week. I have every year there's that week I look forward to when it's actually cold and I can pay attention to the data again. I'm not just out there running on vibes. I'm actually can look to see how much faster I got or I am not based on all of the summer training. But it's going to feel like it. It's false. I hate this part of summer. This is the worst part of he says, breaking his vow of 24 hours of non-complaining. I hate this week of summer, these last few weeks, the end of September, because everyone in the continental United States, maybe not in the South, all my South friends understand this. It's cooler up north and they're already running in really great weather. And I see all my running friends hitting threshold at new paces and cashing in on that fitness. And I feel like I should be there. Like 83 feels like 83 is no different than June 12th or July the 7th. I'm sure it was the same temperature, but I feel like it should be fall. I should be running in cooler weather, and it's nonsense. I shouldn't be. It's obviously still summer. But that did not stop me yesterday. 8 times 90 seconds hard, then followed by 8 times 20-second hill sprints. I said, come on, summer. That's all you got. I'm not backing down. The goal is to not breathe. I mean, that's the whole idea. I said my VO2 max caught a pump just walking down the street before I started my run. Uh, it is it is brutal. But so like this weekend, the temps are gonna drop. I've made this mistake in years past. The first little hint of fall. Okay, this is where all the girlies come out and my guilies, all my pumpkin fans, and then they're breathing into their hands like it's cold outside because it's 63 in the morning, and then they're like fall, oh yeah, and they're coming in for their pumpkin spice into the coffee shops. And I remember one time we were understaffed like 10 years ago, and it was insane. And I had a part timer, Rocky. She came to talk to the boss after and was like, "Hey, I think I'm in school and I'm getting my psychology degree, and this job's a little too stressful for me. Yeah, I didn't really sign up for this, and therefore that shift that became known as the shift that broke Rocky, and that's." This is we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the shift that broke Rocky, and that weekend is coming, but it's false, it's a lie, it's only 60 something, and if you went to go run a marathon and it was like 67 degrees, you'd be like, "Oh, I have to change my goals." Like Berlin, right? Like this, it's a little too warm for me. I can't run too close to the flame or I will get burnt. So even though 67 this weekend is going to feel like fall, it's not going to actually be fall. It's going to be a lie. I'll be faster. It'll feel great, but I'm not going to look at my fitness and be like, "Oh, okay. So if I run this during the summer, that means I can run this during the fall." Cuz that day doesn't come. Sometimes it comes before Halloween, but usually November. Usually it gets down into the 40s, 30s, stuff like that. Good times. Jen Piazza's in here. Jen says 6 by 6 minutes at threshold today, but I was underfueled and it was a slog. It was so humid. I added extra rest to get it done. Good on you, Jen. That is the way. That is the way. I find that little extra rest for summer running is a nice hack to allow the heart rate to settle. However, later in the run, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, if you're overheated and you just really burn out, you're cooked, as the kids say. Oh, Mike. Oh my God, Mike. No, he's in Houston. He says, "No, I'm in Houston. It's 91 degrees." Man, you're insane. Are you running the Houston Marathon, Mike? I've convinced one of my runners where he's running. He signed up, and I'm trying to get another one in there too. So we can all run together, run Houston together. I'm running the Sugarland Half, Mike, on October 12th. That's also the same day as the Chicago Marathon, and I think I got like 5 runners running Chicago, so I'm just gonna be out there running the race, looking at my phone, being like watching their little heads go across the course. Hopefully not. We'll see. I do have a half marathon training. Half marathon training is peak week. I have the half marathon syndicator workout. That's some clickbaity bullshit right there. So what I should have That's what I should have named the live stream. Half marathon syndicator workout. People are like, "What is it? What's the key? What's the unlock? What's the whole thing?" And really I find the best one is 16-mile long run, 10 miles easy, and then you just hit 6 straight at half marathon effort. This is okay 2 weeks out. I'm a fan of the two-thirds workout where I would just go run 9 miles at half marathon pace, but that's a little too close to the half marathon. And depending on how fast or hard you're running it, it might be a little too much on the legs. I need to save my legs a little bit, so I'm not going to do the two-thirds. I'm going to roll the 10-6. Little pro tip. Philip Watt says, ran first half marathon on Saturday in the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5. 1:53:54. Oh, Philip, congratulations. I found the bell downstairs and then the kids moved it again. I don't even know why I bought the bell. They have way more fun with it than I do. I just have a balloon, a wiggle balloon for you. Still recovering. Learned a lot from what I did right and wrong, especially fueling and pace and prep for the first marathon Thanksgiving weekend. All right, Philip. Let's get the right wrong recap. 5 arbitrary number of things I did right and arbitrary number of things I did wrong. YouTube race recap. And then I need a follow-up video on YouTube saying I ran a half marathon in the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5. You don't have to put half marathon. You can say I ran a sub 2 in the Hyperion Elite 5. Let me know how that shoe had performed. I think I saw Joanna's video on it, and once he described it, much like the Vaporfly 2, my interest was piqued, and I haven't really heard anything else. Luis Becerra is here. He says, "Hello, everyone. Hola, Luis. I hope you are doing well. Thanks for joining us. You're early, man. You're early today." Jen Piazza says, "I'm running the Houston Half Marathon. I'm hoping to finally break 140." Well, Jen is now included. We know we're going to have a Stride and Shine shakeout run. I need to get some singlets printed with some Stride and Shine with the big old sun on there. And when Jen finishes, she can come back out to mile 25 like Cohen film everybody, right, Jen? All right. Carrie says, "Come run Wine Glass in a couple weeks in New York." Well, I'm sure Jen will be running that because Jen runs everything in New York. But hey, anything to escape this weather, I'm here for it. So, oh, and I know I was like, once the summer ended, I thought it would be doing more live streams, but it's just kind of touch and go with 3 children. I have like 3 kids, one in high school, one in middle school, one in elementary, all in extracurriculars. I saw some TikTok or reel about really having that many kids or just having them like driving here, driving there, driving there. It's like being an Uber driver, but nobody pays you. You just drive a lot. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of baked into midlife runner that you maybe would not have a whole lot of time available for YouTube. I think I'll have more time when I'm dead. So if you see a channel post Life Runner, you're going to want to subscribe to that. I'm going to definitely put a lot more into it once we get to the other side. So of this whole thing, that's what I'm thinking. So Mike says, "Not running the Houston Marathon this year. I ran the Houston Half Marathon this year in January. I'm currently training for the Honolulu Marathon in December." Well, that's wise. You get to go to Hawaii for that one. And that's always probably a great time. I've never been. My wife's been, so I feel like in a way I've been, but no. I know everyone wants to move there. They go there. December is the SATX. I'll be doing the half marathon. I am an ambassador for it, but I haven't been doing a lot of ambassadorshipness, if that's a word for it. I need to get on that. I need to go make some events. Someone reached out. I got to shoot like why I run. I got to shoot some content for the IG, which I never do. So, but now maybe I will. Someone just giving me a deadline and they're like, "Hey, shoot this, make this. You need to promote this half marathon." And yeah, my guy Nick's going to be running that one with me as well. So the first half of that's flat, fast. It's downtown on the flat part of the city. The back half of the SATX course is not. It's the hill country. Well, it's not the hill country. We live in the hill country. It's just there's a lot of elevation. So, but it's okay. We're not afraid of that here at Midlife Runner. Remember, it's a safe space. So if you in your 7 miles easy today had 600 feet of vert and you want to tell 600 feet of climb, 200 meters, you want to, however, it's okay. Metric, Imperial, we do it all here. It's safe space. So, let's see. I wrote down notes. It's probably all about summer and how hot it is. How's I don't complain. Who does that? That Seth Demore. And then Code gives you the quiet in between. So you can just focus on your breath. I found yoga, midlife yoga. I think it's part of the journey of midlife is to find yoga. I've been doing it. That been some days they're like, this is for your spine. I'm like, is that why I can't move? This is for the hips, opens up the hips. It's good. I think it's going to make me a stronger runner for sure. Definitely more at peace. We're at the Lifetime Fitness. We're still living there in the afternoons with swim practice and other things. So if you see the camera shaking a little bit, it's because I'm surrounded by cats. So true to form, we've got some dogs and cats in there. They like to be on the computer. Unfortunately, I'm on the computer, so maybe we'll just share. Jason is in here. He says Jason Horner finally made alive again. Me too, Jason. That's two of us. We finally did it, man. Midlifers connect. Luis says fueling is key. I agree. I don't know if you can hear that. That's a cat eating an old croissant. I think that was the youngest. We gotta toss that one. This place is a mess. This room is under construction. You see the library behind me is getting redone. By the way, finally, I didn't read. I listened to on Audible Project Hail Mary. I highly recommend this one. Not complaining, but I probably here in a little bit. It's the same author, I think Andy Weir of The Martian. The main character is funny. So I'm automatically going to like it and I'm going to be biased because I think I'm funny. Doesn't mean I'm actually funny, but it's just that I think I'm funny and I really relate to this guy who's a scientist. He's smart. Okay, so and he's in space and he's on this mission and he's funny. Now, I saw there's a trailer for it. They're making it into a movie that's coming out in 6 months. And this is where I'm going to file my complaint after my 24 hours expires. Ryan Gosling is playing the main character. I don't think Ryan Gosling's funny. He's not like he's unironic, like straight, the straight act, like the straight face. I don't forget what it's called. Like he's good at that. Like he was funny as Ken, and he was funny in The Good Guys, but he was being serious. I don't think he knows how to try to be like the comedic timing of being funny. Like I watched a movie called The Informant with Matt Damon, and I was like, this sucks. This is not working. Why isn't this working? And it's like, oh, because Matt Damon's not funny. I like Matt Damon a lot. I like Ryan Gosling a lot. I just think that they're not very funny people. And in The Informant, he's trying to be like funny, but it's not trying. It's just like, there's a gap. It's just not working. And in Hollywood, they've got the space test where they say, like, if you're going to send somebody up into space, they have to be affable and likable people, or else you're not going to care whether they come home or not. So maybe 16 years ago, me and my fellow coworkers, I think I was working at a bookstore at the time, we were like, okay, who passes the space test or not? Meaning, if we sent these actors into space, do I care if they come back or not? Which is why you saw that movie Gravity with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock, because they are just about the two most likable people that you could throw into space and you want them to come back. Well, in that Mars movie with Matt Damon, he goes off to Mars. Do I want him to come back? Yeah, I like Matt Damon. Is he funny? No, but maybe his character isn't supposed to be that funny. Then we were really split. We were split on two people because at the time Avatar had come out and Clash of the Titans, and that guy, you could keep him. Space can keep him. You know what I mean? I don't even remember his name. That's how unmemorable he is. Like, I'm not saying he's like JD Vance. JD Vance is like the opposite of Riz. Like he's Rizless. He's a Rizless wonder. Like there's no game there. There's no charm or charisma, you know? And like I just think if the Christian Bale, because people respect him as an actor because he's super talented and they like him, but if he went to space, space can keep him. I don't care if Christian Bale comes back. I love the Batman movies. Christopher Nolan's fantastic director. I like Christian Bale, but not like as a person, like as a talent. Space can keep him, you know. Uh Sam something or other, was that his name? You could just put him on a the guy from Avatar. If you put him on a ship and send him around orbit, you know, I don't know if I would keep track of when the landing was. That's all I'm saying. Okay, it was a tangent. Okay, but Project Hail Mary, if you have Audible, you could listen to it. It's really good to listen to. If I have a choice and I know the prose is good, like if it's a really good writer, like the person who wrote Gone Girl, I want to read the prose versus just watch the movie. Sometimes I like both. On rare occasion, they're both really good. Jurassic Park was a really good book and it was a really good movie. Sometimes it's there. But I'm not a purist. A lot of purists, they're like, I want the movie to be exactly like the book. I don't. I kind of like a surprise because I've already experienced the story once as a book. So if you change it now, I don't know who's going to live or who's going to die or what to expect. If in the movie, all of a sudden something kind of crazy happens. And then my wife, I was telling her this because she's my best friend. And she was like, I'm going to tell you about Breaking Dawn. And I'm going to tell you about my experience in the movie theaters. And I was like, you can spoil this for me. I've never seen Twilight. I've never read Twilight. I've never experienced the whole thing. And she took me on an adventure and about this whole big fight scene in the fourth movie. And it was pretty incredible. And it made me almost wish, almost, almost that I had read the Twilight series just so I could experience that in the theater. Cause I like a little twist in there. But Project Hail Mary, I was like, I don't think I can watch the movie because I'll just think that could have been Paul Rudd. That should totally be Paul Rudd. Should not be Ryan Gosling. Maybe Ryan Gosling will surprise me. I'm not assuming the best. Okay. But I just think that if you got a neurotic, funny kind of scientist guy, you got to put Ant-Man in there, you know, and maybe he was busy. Or maybe Gosling did the flex. Maybe Gosling read the book and was like, "I gotta be this guy." And he's got pull. And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Anything for you, Ken." You know, but he's Ken. He's Ken. He's not a single middle school science teacher. Okay. Like in what world is Ryan Gosling a single middle school like I my wife was a teacher. Okay. I've met a lot of other teachers who look a lot less handsome and are plenty taken. You know, it's a stretch. Okay. The suspension of disbelief can only go so far. Okay. We'll transition back here. Philip Watt says, as a heel striker, the Hyperion Elite 5 transitioned very well. I looked at pictures at mile 11 and it looks like I kept my form. Well, that's awesome to hear. I've been thinking a lot about that lately, about the whole high plate, low plate, stride versus cadence. And I settled in on something that I think makes sense for me. And I'm not sure if the science backs it up. I haven't run any independent studies. I am not a scientist and I'm not going into space. I'm not an astronaut either. And I'm thinking that for me, it's a height differential of the particular runners. Because a lot of times the height informs your cadence. Everybody picks up the cadence as they go faster. And also, you get a bigger stride as you're going faster too, because it makes sense. You're going across space time faster. Now, where it makes sense to me is like if I take a runner like myself, and then also Joanna's not that much heavier than me, but he's much taller than me. His average cadence is lower. But if we are both running, let's say 8 minutes a mile, or 5 minutes a kilometer, and he's taking less steps to cover the same distance in the same amount of time. He's putting more power in each one of those steps, and I am not, but we're traveling. So he may compress the foam a little bit harder, right? Because some people will say the Nova Blast 5, are you kidding me? Because I said it's a bouncy ride, the Nova Blast 5. And someone was like, that's ridiculous. Or the Neo Zen. Like, I fell in love with the Zen. I've been running in the Zen a lot. That's such a great shoe because it came out at the beginning of the year. So a lot of times those shoes get shelved and they don't really come back. And it's like, you know what? I started running in it again and I love it. My man Dave has put like 500 miles on his, and I'm closing in maybe closer to 200, but it's a great shoe. And I started running in it again. And when I have a slower cadence, it's like a recovery shoe. And I can see where bigger runners like sink into it and they're like, it has no pep. But for a shorter stride or more of a cadence, a shorter runner, short king like myself, I like the energy return, right? And it's the same thing with the Neo Vista version 2. It's the same foam, but there's just more of it. And if I get up to marathon pace, then it's feeling good, right? Like the energy return is there. Otherwise, I sink into it too much and then it doesn't decompress and come back. That's the key word Kafuzi always uses, the compression decompression rate. And I think people say power, bigger runners, all that stuff. I really think it's like taller runner, shorter runner. Could be wrong, right? I think also it would also apply for more power. So it would also apply for taller or bigger runners and how much power you're putting down into the particular shoe and the energy you return you get. I think the Nova Blast 5 is baff. I think it's bouncy AF personally. That's other people are like, no, it's a comfortable cruiser. And I'm like, I don't, is bouncy. The two most dynamic shoes this year in the daily training category from the dynamic daily trainers. I hesitate to say premium daily trainers because then we're talking like super shoes like Mega Blast and all that stuff. Is the Nova Blast 5 and the Neo Zen. For me, that's what it is. Oh, I think also because Joanna really liked the energy return from the Hyperion 3. And I don't. Like, it's okay. It's like, why do I have the shoe when I could have the Glycerin Max kind of thing? And he thought it was bouncier than the Nova Blast 5. So again, more power in, more power back. By the way, I sold my Mega Blast. Just sent them off to my man Pedro today. My legs took a few weeks to recover. I'm just now starting to feel a little bit better. I can still feel it, and I feel like I've lost power around the ankles. And I've got a race October 12th, so I gotta get my shit together. I took a scale back week last week. The mileage was high, but I just took the foot off the pedal from the speed to kind of recover. That's disappointing because I really like the Mega Blast. It's a fun shoe. It did remind me of the Primex one. Strong. I don't know the names. Primex, Strong one. Maybe that's it. It's a great time. I guess I'm a weak runner. I don't know if I have stability needs, but that shoe didn't work for me. So it's sold off. But I'm not going to talk bad about it because it's going to work for a lot of people. Jason Horner says CR plots the Tanda prediction chart with 8 weeks smoothing and 8 weeks time period is giving me a terrifying prediction time. Jason, what is that prediction time? I can't plug in your data to my CR plot. So I've manually done this before because I'm a nerd. Is I'll go in and I'll find running YouTubers or other people who in public, whether they're actual professional athletes, and then I see their average pace for the week and their total mileage, and then I just do it manually where I add them all up and divide them to kind of see what it says they're capable of, and then how they ran up against it. Mike, someone asked me about Kaizen today because Kaizen auto post when my run is done, and that's the prediction app that'll tell you. And it's plugged in for half marathon for me right now, and it's just stuck at 123. It keeps saying I can run a 123, but it's not linked to my Strava. And then, like historically, it's suddenly linked to my Strava now, so I can put my Boston time for smoothing where it counts for previous races, but it doesn't. That's it. Like it can't pull any other races. So I don't think it's accurate at all because I did run a 120:35 and I'm definitely in better shape now. So it's kind of confusing. I don't put much stock in Kaizen. And the guy asked me, he was like, should I get this for like a coach? And I was like, you can hire me as a coach. I was like, the problem with Run Kaizen, personally, Kaizen is that it sets the mileage for you. So I was like, hey, you run this much more mileage and you get to this spot. And I personally cannot be trusted to not run or chase mileage. It's my own fault. I overtrained last summer and I own it. It's my fault. I did it to me. Okay. And I don't like the temptation. Philip Watts is in here. He says, didn't fuel up enough in the days and morning leading up to the race, slowed down halfway, but when gel and carbs kicked in that I took during the race, I picked pace back up for the last 2 miles for a strong finish. I love it. Mike says, I'd love to run SATX. Well, Mike, I have a discount code for you. So if you don't get your kick in New York with the wine glass and you still feel an itch for early December, that week we're doing the running event. We got the running event down here. I'm definitely going to go to it. I'm going to finally meet up with my people from Mizuno. All right. Mike says next year. Okay, next year. Yeah. Luis says lots of Tai Chi ads on YouTube lately. My favorite part of working in a coffee shop for the longest time was listening to baristas offer Tai Chi lattes or to hear customers order it accidentally. And it was Freudian slip probably. I mean, I think they know it's chai tea, but just Tai Chi. And I had a barista who was like, "They don't. No, no one ever does that." And I'm like, "No, your brain may smooth that out and translate it for you, but listen for it. You'll hear it. It happens. People order Tai Chis all the time. It's a thing." Man, I'm behind. Panos is in here. He says, "Hi, midlifers. Did you watch the Tokyo World Athletic Champions? They had some really amazing races." I didn't. I was busy, but YouTube, the algorithm does a really good job of putting in front of me the things I want to see, important sporting events. You really just have to watch one. If I watch any clips on the San Antonio Spurs, it's going to put the highlights after every game, the Texas Longhorns, anything running related. So they started, and then I watched maybe the 1500 meter or Cole Hucker got disqualified. And then after that, then every race it sent it to me. So, but it's weird because some people fall out of favor in my algorithm and then they just pop back. Like Rich Roll just popped back in with 6-hour podcast. Maybe because no, he's talking to a swimmer. I don't know. I was like, maybe it would be a runner. I don't know. I don't know what the algorithm's thinking. So Matt Byers in here. He says, finally made it on. Meeting ran late and we'll catch up later on the earlier discussion. Well, Matt, we have not. There has been no Takumi Sen reference. I didn't hear great things about the Takumi Sen 11. And my final take after 100 miles in the 10, I say I think I prefer the 8. And now with all the amazing shoes that you can run in, like the Streakfly V2, I don't think I'm going to get the Takumi Sen 11. And that's kind of weird. So Stevie76 says, you want to said you sold your Mega Blast on the Supple app? Yes, Stevie, I did. Well, I posted them on there, but I was still trying to get rid of them. And my man Pedro, who sent me the Super Blast 2 originally, he put his name in the hat. So I sent him off to him. I sold the Wave Rider 29 because I had 2 pair, and then I'm trying to sell the Wave Sky 9. I put 2 miles in it. I'm not going to review a shoe when I don't run in the genre. I can't compare it to the Nimbus. I don't run in the Nimbus. I can't compare it to the Triumph. I don't run in the Triumph. Like, what am I going to say? Like Mizuno, I'm going to be honest. I try to be honest with everything. Puma's my favorite company. Mizuno's my second favorite. I'll say the certain shoes from Mizuno are amazing. And then there's an Oriole. You never see Orioles, like the Baltimore Orioles, just outside the window. Anyway, ADD. Um, and so like I think Asics is a little overrated. I don't like where Adidas went. I heard Joanna in the video today saying, like New Balance, the shoes he's looking forward to is that the New Balance went the wrong direction when they switched to this Piba foam that they went for, when they had the really good fuel cell foam from 2022, 23. That was in the SC Trainer version 1 and the Rebel V3. New Balance used to be my favorite company that year, right? Like, and so keeping it honest, just I am just being honest. I think Puma's top form. I think Adidas's soft foam, their Light Strike 2.0 is a dud. I'm sorry. That softness. I don't like the Adios Pro 4. I'm trying to sell that in a 9.5 for maybe like $130 from the Sepwell app. I'm going to sell the Adios 9 for like 115 if anyone wants that in a size 9. Adidas is not to say they can't bounce back. I'm sure they will. No pun intended on that. But yeah. And then even when I say the company is really good, they're not without fault. Like they have some really good shoes and some other shoes that are like mid or, can use some work. But that's kind of where I'm at. And it's not because Mizuno send me shoes. I think Mizuno and Mount Coast are the only ones who send me shoes. And it's funny because Mount Coast doesn't have very many shoes and they're going all ultra, so they sent me this. I see like a box came in. Naturally, I opened it because I don't wait for a live stream. I don't even know when I'm going to do a live stream. They sent me this. It's an H1. They've sent me like trail shoes, and I've told them like, "Hey guys, I don't do trails." And they're like, "Yeah, but you know what? Here you go. You can. This is like a road to trail shoe." And all I could think about, this is stupid. This is, I'm gonna let you know what goes on in my head when I see stuff like this. So it says H1, and I'm like, well, okay, so there's R1, S1, P1. P1 was the stability shoe, which apparently after running in the Mega Blast, maybe I need to go try out because maybe I have stability needs I didn't know about. And I was like, what are they gonna do when they run out? When they've done A1, they've done a Z1, they've done all that. They're gonna have to circle back and do a double letters. They're gonna have like the AA one. And I was like, that's gonna be a recovery shoe. But okay, that's it. That's all I got. Similar to the Sky 9, I don't run in the genre. So like if I run in a trail shoe, and what am I gonna tell you? This is the best trail shoe I've ever run in. Well, naturally, because it's maybe the only trails. The Saucony Peregrine 11. It's like the only other shoe that I've ran in. The trails don't happen for me right now. So that's where we're at. You guys, you can slide into the comments if you want those shoes. You don't have to be on the Sepwell app. If you are on the Sepwell app, just find me and I'll let you know. So Carrie says you didn't like them. I like the Mega Blast ride a lot. I started to feel some like shin pain and I was like, oh, well, maybe it's because I'm doing these high mileage weeks. Then I ran it again and then I felt it like up at the hips and I was like, okay, that's weird. Then we just back off and I ran in more stable shoes for a week. Then I took the Mega Blast back out and my Achilles started to hurt. And then I think I almost rolled an ankle. And then laterally to the right and left of my ankles, my peroneal tendonitis started to flare up. And I was like, it's definitely these shoes, which is unfortunate because I really, really like the ride. The ride is fun. But I don't know if my legs can handle it right now. I don't know if they'll ever be able to. So I'm just going to sell them because I don't want to get hurt and not be able to race this half marathon and then train for Houston So Matt Beyer says, I enjoyed the Nova Blast 5 up until about 100 miles. I felt I could pick up the pace throughout the long run. After the 100-mile mark, the midsole became mushy with a cadence between 180 to 215 SPMs. Well, that's good to know, Matt. I've been hearing a lot of the same thing. I'm probably 50 to 70 miles somewhere in there for my Nova Blast 5. So I look forward to seeing what's going to happen after 100 because I'm definitely going to hit 100. I gotta get some videos out. I'm so behind. And then I review these electrolytes for this company, uh, VenturePal, and I shot it already. I just did like a one take banger, and then I still need to edit it and post it. Maybe I'll do that today if I have time. So Matt says, have you had any hits on the Audios 9 listing? It would be redundant for me with the RevoFly 4 and the Peg Plus. No, I have not had any hits, but I didn't post any pictures of it. I kind of sprinkled it in at the end. So we'll see. Jason's predicted Chicago time. We're not going to hold you to this, Jason. 2:43:36. I will tell you after your workout today, I mean, 5:50, 20-minute tempo. I mean, that like you are right there. I mean, on paper, it's looking really good. It's looking really good. You just got to make sure to taper enough to get the legs fresh. And you can pioneer the way so that I know me and Jason Horner have the exact same fitness, guys. So like whatever Jason does, it's encouraging for me, not only as a supportive other runner of somebody else on Strava or someone who I coach, but also because I feel like what he does, I will be able to do. It's a pioneer. Carrie Smith says, is Strava or Stride a better race predictor? Yeah, it's a good question. I used to be really into all the race predictors, Kaizen, CR plots, and I really do think there is something to be said about the volume component, having enough volume to carry you the distance at the speed by which you want to carry the distance. It's a supporting character in the play. But I think it's important, but I'm not really sure. I don't have a stride, so I've never done the stride. I'm where I don't know. I think Strava, I've never really paid attention to it because it seems to always say I can do what I already just did. Like my 5K predicted time is a 5:46 pace after running 5K at 5:46. So I'm like, okay. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know. It's a good question though. Pano says, I'm thinking about the Puma Velocity 4 for my next daily trainer. I'm hearing good things and I can already find it with a nice discount. Well, I would go for that. I think the Velocity 4 is in the wheelhouse in the same category as the SL2 and the Wave Rider 29. Now, I have about 50 miles in the Wave Rider 29. I like it better than the SL2. I think it's fantastic. I think they're all in that 140 category, but you usually can score the SL2 at a huge discount. Eventually, you're going to be able to get the Mizuno, and Puma always does sales too. So, like, when it comes to that kind of just the shoe for the daily training, I would be inclined to go for the budget shoe. And then, Joanna talks a lot about how, if he's running 120 miles, he wants as much protection as possible. So he doesn't run in that shoe as much. And I could kind of see that. I feel like it's a good double shoe. Or if I'm like going to the gym, I'm gonna lift in it. So me, hybrid athlete, me. All right. Bryce says, I did a half marathon in the Takumi Sen 9s, and I'm thinking of using them for the marathon sub 3 pace. Do you think that's a big risk given their flat nature and design, or could they make it? Bryce, people used to run marathons in a lot less. I always wanted to work up the balls to run a half marathon in the Takumi Sen 8s. And I believe Frank's done it. I believe Matt Byer's done it. I think you could do it because I ran a sub 3 in the Fast Star. In the Fast Star, there's not a whole lot to that shoe. There really there really isn't, and you could really feel like I had typical DOMS from the marathon. I was sore for a week, and the last thing to not be sore was my feet from the shoe, but I don't think your feet will cramp. If you did a half marathon in it, I think you'll be good. I love the Takumi Sen 8 and 9, and I think that, like, if you're already a strong runner, right? Because you've run a half marathon in it, so your feet and legs are strong enough to handle that, then I think they can handle the full distance. So it's not like you're trying to just transition from max stack shoes only into something, a lot less for a long time. All right. Carrie says, my Nova's got a bit firmer after 150. Still good. I think I'm close to 500 miles. All right. Matt Byer says, I feel like Garmin's race predictor is pretty bad where it predicts a lot slower time. Yeah. Um, I think the thing about all race predictors is that, and this is something I do think about a lot, is they predict across all distances, but at any given time, you should not be ready for a race specific 5K and a race specific marathon in the same, like at the same time, right? Like you're either training for a 5K and then you're doing more 5K specific workouts with 1 mile, 3K, 5K, 10K tempo, right? Then you've got marathon training, which looks a lot different. There's still components that are going to be equal. There's still 80/20, kind of whatever. There's longer long runs. There's differences enough to where you shouldn't be in peak 5K shape right before your marathon. And even though you might be able to run the 5K PR when you're in peak marathon shape, you would be able to run a faster 5K if you were doing 5K specific work and training for a 5K. So when you see that, like, you're capable across a range, depending where you are in the spectrum of what race you're training for, you're going to be like, yeah, I think I can run a half marathon or marathon in that time. That's really ambitious for a 5K. I don't think I could really hit that for a 5K or vice versa. Usually there's that. Another thing about those race predictors is that a lot of times they're assuming a flat, fast course on a nice, cold day from when you're well tapered and you are giving a maximum effort. It's like I look back at that 120.35 and I'm like, I want to crush that 120.35 halftime. But, like, I did not have anything left to give. I was toast at the end of that race. It was 11 degrees outside, and I had 300 net feet downhill at the end of it. Even though there's some uphills, it's still 300. So, like, that was a max. Sometimes we look at the times we ran and we're like, "Oh, I did that, I can do this." And it's like, yeah, but that was a max out. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna take everything I've got to get close to that. But I do agree that I think of all the race predictors, Garmin's algorithm is the one that's probably off the most. I don't know if they've updated it since I've had Garmin. I've had a course for a year, so um, I don't know. Just something to think about. So right now, like I said, I haven't looked at a lot of that stuff. I think CR Plots probably has me around a 255 marathon, but I don't know what that means for my half marathon. And Kaizen's got me at a 123, which I know I can run faster than. So, I mean, ultimately, what's going to happen is you're going to run a race. And I find the best one is the VDOT calculator. So, whatever you run for that race, and then you go put it in. For me, anyway, like it's pretty congruent. I don't know the right words. They're difficult sometimes, but I feel like it's pretty accurate. Stevie76 says, in his recent podcast, Coach Fox and his guest said most professionals dope, justifying the need for the enhanced games. Do you think most professionals dope? I don't know. It's not my, it would just be a guess. And I tend to assume the best in people. Optimism is one of my superpowers, I guess. I'm full of hope. What I did think would be really interesting is if you have the enhanced games and everybody takes enhancements and then they go run. And what if the enhanced game athletes run exactly what the world's best run? Like nobody breaks 2 hours in the marathon. Nobody breaks any world records, right? Like it's like, oh, now they're just as fast as all of the other people who are already doping. I thought that would be funny in a ironic way. And in my opinion, if you are not if you can't laugh at the irony in life, you're not in on the joke. That's it. Matt Beyer says, I've run a half in the Takumi Sen 10s, and they hold my current PB. It's aggressive and gave me feedback when my form broke down around mile 8 and helped me reconnect till the end. So there you go. Matt also trains in a lot of Nike. A lot of Nikes have big drops, 10 mil drops, a lot of ground contact. Ran in that peg plus. This morning, 3 miles, it really does. I ran in the Peg Turbo 2. It really does remind me of the Peg Turbo 2. Like a lot, like a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And I don't know if 2025 runners are going to get behind that because they're used to Evo SLs and bigger stacks and all the stuff. But like as far as old school 2020 shoes, anyway, because I know there's like, oh, I ran in a slipper in 2007 and whatever. Yeah, I know that's a thing, but old school 2020. And I'm not sure if there's a huge market for it, but $60 off the Supple app. I'm here for it. Stevie76 says Race Predictors also takes into account the number of porta potties available on the course. Absolutely. Yeah. So, the Race Predictors, they should be able to factor in PEDs. I put some dumb comment. I think Jason Fitzgerald said something about what is your knowledge or what do you know about fatigue resistance? And I'm like, there's less of it if you take PEDs. That's to my understanding how it works. So Burps is in here. He says, "Rip Jack Daniels." Yeah, absolute legend. I don't know if we don't have time. We got to like dedicate a whole podcast or a podcast, whatever, live stream to Jack Daniels. Someone asked me the difference between Jack Daniels and Fitz. And I will say something about them is that they are absolute legends. And the only issue that I had as a beginning runner and what I see other beginning runners do is as like I look up to them and you buy their literature and you buy their books and their training is very intense and geared towards runners like high school, college, Olympic. They were Olympians. They worked Olympians. And when you think about if someone prescribes to you to run 3 minutes hard for a 4.5 hour marathoner, that he might cover 600 meters. For a sub 3 hour guy, right? Yasso 800, 3 hours, 800 meters maybe, right? A sub elite may cover a K. He's doing 3 minute Ks. And Clayton Young damn near ran 1,200 meters, like 306. That's insane. So it's like double the distance. So when you see Fitz plans and they have these 1,200-meter repeats in marathon training near peak weeks, like then the beginner runner gets injured because they're just I've seen it happen. It's a lot of pounding on the legs, and I don't think it's necessary or to prescribe by these 1Ks or these 1,200 hard repeats, because like some of those other runners are just doing it like, hey, they're running hard for a couple minutes, right? And then you're trying to run hard for 6 minutes, and it's not the same. So, but yeah, love Jack Daniels. Burp says, I heard you want to mention you, Midlife Runner, on a recent video saying you're on the Supple app. Did you catch that? What is the best and worst thing about the app? Thanks. Yeah, I was So, man, I found Ioana when he had maybe like 300 subs. He always talks about his daily 3,000, the 3,000 club of people who watch him daily. I was part of the 300. It's a real gladiator. But it was backward hat days. Loved his energy, loved the vibes. So I've been supporting, I support my fellow small YouTubers. Now he's the Don. Now he's the big time, whatever. So great thing about the app is that I scored the most shoes for so cheap. I need to write a list down just so I have like the greatest hits of everything. I got like Hyperion Max 1 for $25. I got so many shoes for like 60 bucks, $70, Peg Plus. Like there, it's just real like Hoka Cielo X1 2.0, like all of the super shoes. I think the most I paid is like 150. I might have paid 180 or 190 for the Deviate Nitro Elite version 3 when they were hard to get and they were still relatively new. So even then it's still like 50 bucks off. And a lot of times the sellers will give it to you shipped so you don't pay for shipping. So I think that's great. Those are my cat's whiskers up there at the top. Anyway, worst thing about the app, I don't know how it could be better. Maybe there's some like better sorting. If I could just click on something that says US men's size 9 or like 9.5, and then I could see everything that comes up. I would say also it depends. Like if you live in Australia, then you're who you're going to ship to other people from Australia, or if you're like size women size 5, like you're probably not going to have a whole lot of people who are going to be there. I mean, but the thing is, if you're not there, then they're not there. I'm the most common size. I think it's like 9.5. It's like that, but I see a lot of 11s, 12, 12.5, 13, 14. So I see a lot of range on that. But I would think like if you have a foot size that's not very common, then your options are going to be a little bit limited. At the 9, I just have to be hawking it. Like I got the Mega Blast within an hour of when that person posted it. But usually if a US size 9 goes up on the app, it's already too late. You know, I'm too late. There's too many nines out there, guys with the 9. Um, so there's that. We'll end with this. Burp says, thank you for answering. Quick question. I watched all your math videos. Do you still use Math Zone 2 or not for your most recent training? Thanks again. So to tie it in, Stevie76, in that same podcast, I believe that Matt Fox was talking, the last question they were talking about was heart rate. And I feel like my relationship with heart rate has changed over the years a little bit, and I've become less of a slave to it. But I do really believe the key difference is they believe that heart rate is not a reflection of the effort that you put out, right? So if you just dial into your effort, you know what you can hold and what you can't hold, and you're going to figure it out. But it is really informative when you're first getting started. And I'm like, I grabbed a Hanson half marathon book. I knew what time I wanted to run. And then it said my easy A pace was 9:40. My easy B pace was 9:03 or something like that. And so I was like, well, I'm feeling good. So I was running 8:40s and I was running faster than those things. Once I started the Maffetone method, I found out that when I'm really running where my low heart rate is, it was about 10, 15 to 11. So I wasn't in whatever shape thought I was trying to be, and I was running my easy days too hard, like most beginners do. So I think it's really good to kind of say, all right, principally speaking, can I talk when I run slow? And then my heart rate is corresponding and it's low and it's good. And it's the best way to get faster and increase your VO2 max when you're first starting because your legs aren't taking a pounding. Then you can implement the speed work later. So when I run, I do try to run in the 130s to low 140, which is kind of in my MAF zone. As it corresponds, I can breathe like for like 5 steps in, 5 steps out. I mean, I'm cruising, right? I'm at a relaxed pace. So I do look at that. But on race day, the heart rate gets elevated and it's not really true of kind of where it's at. And on race day, I go more by feel. And especially towards the end of the race, it doesn't matter. I just go for it. So when I ran the Austin International half, like I'm running just short of my threshold because I know threshold effort. And I know threshold effort I can hold for 45 minutes up to an hour. And after 3 or 4 miles, okay, I do a threshold mile and then I ease off on it. And when I have 6 or 7 miles left, right, I've crossed the 10K mark. I'm like, okay, once I get to mile 7, I've got 6 miles. I can run threshold for the rest of it. And that's what I started doing. I'm just going to lean into it and I'm just going to run threshold all the way through. Right. And I look at my watch and I've got the heart rate strap on and it's telling me 185, 187. I don't slow down and think, oh, wow, I can only hold that for 5K. That's my 5K heart rate. So I can only hold whatever. I run what I think I can hold and I look at the heart rate data later. And I think it peaked out at 199 in that race. Like it was like a max effort kind of deal. And there could be heart rate data error, reading error, but I didn't let the heart rate inform how I ran the race. And I did not slow down and I just ran it anyway. And then that's kind of when I realized, oh, in previous times when my heart rate started getting, oh, I can't cross that heart rate threshold that's to there. It's like, hey, I'm running marathon pace effort. I'm just running this effort. This is what I can hold. And if I can't hold it, I can't hold it. But like I know this effort. So I definitely keep an eye on it, right? But I don't let it. So sometimes especially in the heat of the summer, I'll set my threshold heart rates to, 173 to like 181. And I'll just kind of run into that, and even then I could probably just do it by effort. So not as much as I used to, but I still think it's great. All right. Yes, I still run 130 to 140 for my easy runs. And the heat and humidity, the cardiac drift is going to happen around mile 4 or 5. And I don't care. I don't slow down. Well, like Maffetone, when I did the math method, I would slow down to keep my heart rate in check. Now I'm just kind of like, whatever, this is still easy and it's a few beats over and it doesn't matter. I'm going to finish it out these couple miles and, it's fine, and then similarly, when the weather gets really cold, I don't say like I got to top out my MAF. It's like I'm running easy and it's my MAF minus 10. I'm running at 129, but like my legs physically do not feel like taking a pounding running faster. So, all right. So Burp says you have wonderful math videos. Please consider a video on math for midlife runners 2025. Okay. Yeah. I got to do that. I got to get back into the YouTube content creation. I get content creator fatigue, man, running fatigue. And I'm part of the problem, because I make it. But Frank says heart rate, especially later in the race, is completely misleading. People regularly are in zone 5 for like 10 to 15 minutes at the end of a marathon, and that should be impossible. I agree 100%, Frank. If you didn't catch the first part of this live stream, I talked about Project Hail Mary. I don't know how you feel about Ryan Gosling being the lead on that, but I'd rather be Paul Rudd. Andrew Cho says just ran half last weekend, huge PR. I made sure my heart rate wouldn't go above threshold in that first half. Andrew, I'm gonna just this imaginary bell for you, man. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. So, sweet. So, Frank says MAF heart rate is zone 3 for you, though. I don't really know. I feel like my max is 199. If I do the 180 minus 40 plus 45, I go, damn, I've got old. Plus 5, it's still around 140. This is what I'm, according to Maffetone, what I'm supposed to be running at, but I don't know what the zones, all that stuff. So, sweet. I'll end with this. Stevie76 says midlife is Arch Manning's math coach. Yeah, we got but he's running's probably the best part of his game at this point. It certainly isn't his arm. Still took it to Sam Houston State. He just needs a down week. So to be fair, he's a true fresh, or he's not. He's a redshirt freshman, but he needs a little bit of time. So thanks, guys, for popping into the live stream. There's no guarantees I'll be back next week, but hopefully. So we'll just turn on the camera and go. So I appreciate you stopping by. Peace.